Hi, I'm Tim Bradner with Alaska Legislative Digest, and welcome today to Capitol Views to Representative Tom McKay, new legislator representative from District 24, South Anchorage. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Tim. Good to be with you today.
Tom, so just to start out, maybe you could describe the district, roughly where in Anchorage it is, what the boundaries are.
Sure. My district in South Anchorage basically is everything south of Campbell Lake, bordering on Cook Inlet, and then everything west of the New Seward Highway. So it's kind of a triangle that tapers off, and it starts with Bayshore, and then Clat, and then the Ocean View are the kind of the three basic areas. I have two community councils in my district, the Bayshore Clat Community Council, and I think they call it the Old Seward Ocean View Community Council. And then I don't think I have any actual high schools, but I do have Clat Elementary, Ocean View Elementary, and Bayshore Elementary, and Mears Junior High in my district.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a mixture of an old and new neighborhood in Anchorage. Tom, when did you come to the state? Where are you from outside of Alaska?
I was actually born and raised in upstate New York. Was raised on a dairy farm. And I was actually got out of high school when Mario Cuomo was the governor, which is a little interesting historical trivia to know about. I went to college in Montana. I went to Montana Tech in Butte, got a petroleum engineering degree, and I came to Alaska in 1980. And I've been in Alaska most of that time. So that was 41 years now. I worked primarily for Arco Alaska and ConocoPhillips Alaska during that time, 27 years with that company. I also spent time in Norway and Indonesia. And then my most recent two assignments, I did a project for Ahtna called the Tulsana Well, which is up near Glen Allen. And then my last 3 years, I worked for Blue Crest, and they operate the rig down at Anchor Point. So that I've had a lot of exposure to the oil and gas industry. I've drilled, I've been involved with exploration and development drilling projects pretty much all over the state, from Cook Inlet to the Beaufort Sea, all the major fields on the slope, and some remote jobs. So I've had a pretty good exposure to a lot of operations all over the state.
That's a long track record of experience, Tom. I guess I got to ask you, what these seem to be challenging times for the oil patch in Alaska. Prices are not what we would hope they would be. The production seems to be kind of winding down. We have a new federal administration in DC. What do you think the future of the industry is in Alaska?
Well, you're absolutely right. These are challenging times, Tim, and as administrations change, then we go from favorable administrations to adversarial administrations. That first of all, I think that our state and our federal delegation needs to do everything they can to fight back some of these restrictive policies that are coming out of DC. We are seeing a pretty good recovery of oil prices. I understand we're in the 60s now, which is pretty good for Alaska. So that's one bit of good news. I think we're going to have to attract some smaller operators, some more independent companies, because I'm sure that Hilcorp and ConocoPhillips and Exxon and some of the others, Oil Search, they'd probably like to have some help up here to spread their costs and to, draw from as far as support goes. So I think we're going to have to we need to be more open for business. That's my motto.
And I guess the reason why we want more companies is so that there's more activity, more contractors, more people available to do work, I guess.
And jobs. I tell my colleagues and my staff here frequently, it's about jobs, it's about the permanent fund dividend, and it's about taxes. When people sit down at their kitchen table, they just want to know, am I going to have a job? How much is the dividend going to be? And are you going to tax me? And that's pretty much what it comes down to, in my opinion, for most folks. They don't need a real complicated explanation. They just want to know those three simple things. And they might want to know a fourth thing now. When is the pandemic going to end?
That's something that's on all of our mind. It
Yes.
certainly is. Tom, I have to ask you, in your Cook Inlet experience with Bluecrest, which is a small independent company, I have been told that they drill wells that are very interesting. And I don't know if you've been involved in it. The wells are drilled upside down, where you drill down and then you go back up. Maybe you could
Yeah.
just explain it for us. That sounds like magic to me. How does that work? How do you drill a
Well,
well upside down?
I can tell you all about it because I was the engineer for those wells. Basically, we drill a long horizontal well out from the bluff down and out underneath Cook Inlet, and then we do sidetracks up into the reservoir from underneath. It's hard to describe it over the computer like this, but if you could imagine, kind of, we call it a fishbone well, and we drill 8 drain holes up into the reservoir from the main mother bore, and those wells have been producing quite well for Bluecrest. I don't know the latest figures, but they don't involve a frac. So we were able to do that work without a frac. And it's basically the advances in directional drilling technology enable us to drill those wells. The mother bore, the deepest part is like 25,000 feet. So you're out there about 5 miles as far as the length of the wellbore.
And then you go up. This really is really interesting because it shows you what technology and innovation can do to drilling new types of wells, new oil recovery.
That's right.
Well, Tom, we're about out of time. I appreciate. I hope we can have a chance to talk about this more sometime. I appreciate your time today.
I would love to talk to you anytime, Tim. We have a lot of challenges facing our state, and we really have to tackle them together. And the more we can talk to our constituents and to the citizens of the state, the better off we'll be. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thanks.